I'm the only person in this room right now amongst two of us who have a completely unrelated CCA. You want to take a guess?
Choir, band.
Ballet.
Do I look like a dancer? Oh my god, thanks! Welcome back to another episode of Men Explain. Now, regardless of what job you're doing right now, what career path you're taking, there's always going to be success, failure, so many different themes. But what is the price that we're paying for success? We're going to find out right now. Two star athletes with me here today. Give it up for Clarence and Izaac. Hello.
Hi everyone, my name is Clarence and I'm a professional table tennis athlete. And of course, I am the oldest member of the team at the young age of 27.
Love that.
Hi, I'm Izaac. I'm 17 this year and the youngest member of the table tennis team. Like Clarence, I'm also playing professionally, full-time.
So when both of you walked in, most of the crew members said, you guys look quite close in age. And that's why I wanted to specify the age. So does that keep you young? I mean, like the sports and keeping active all these years?
Well, I guess it's a compliment to be similar to Izaac.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess being with them, training together with all the younger teammates, they are all quite a few years younger than me. It makes me feel young as well, I guess. So,
I mean, there was a time where you were the youngest person in the team, I'm sure, right?
yes, but time flies and all of a sudden I am the oldest.
Yeah. You do this and you dedicate so much of your life and your time for the sport. So what was your first taste of success? Do you remember that? Since we're on the topic of exploring success, failure, what we are sacrificing for success, maybe we can start with you. What was your first taste of success?
Of course, being an athlete, I think success more or less ties with winning.
Winning. Yeah.
So yeah, my first taste definitely was during primary school when we played at age group tournaments, and maybe I started to win matches and get
Noticed.
get a gold medal and stuff. So yeah, those are my first days of success, and that actually motivated and inspired me to, continue to work hard and to achieve the same success, because it's a nice feeling.
It is, but don't you also feel like it's like chasing dopamine kind of? Because we're always like, we want to have that feeling again. Do you feel that way?
It definitely makes you want more every time. But I guess that's also sort of like a goal that you work towards too. So you can experience the same sort of euphoria again. I think that's what most athletes, they chase after.
And at the same time though, you also acknowledge, I'm sure in sportsmanship, you also acknowledge that it's not going to be that kind of moment always. You're going to have moments where you experience failure or you might experience setbacks, right? So for you, do you feel like you've already reached a certain level of success or there's so much more left to go for you?
For me, I feel I'm still like very young. So I think there's a lot more competitions or a lot of tournaments that I haven't played. From young, I mean, same as Clarence, I play a lot of age group tournaments in Singapore. But from then, we start to qualify and get into like the junior development squad where we like under age of 12, like we train together and we get opportunities to go overseas. I think from then I got selected to travel overseas, and like I think winning my first ever overseas tournament was that was my first taste of success.
Yeah, and hopefully more to come as well. So if you guys weren't doing this, what do you think you would be doing? I'm so curious.
Wow, this is actually a very difficult question.
Really? You have never thought of it?
Yes, to be honest, I've never really thought of it because I think since young I've made up my mind that this is the path that I want to pursue. And yeah, to be honest, I don't have any much time to explore other interests and stuff. So yeah, I'm not quite sure what I would be if I wasn't an athlete.
That is so interesting because to me, I mean, I didn't know what I wanted to do until like, I guess I was in poly. And then it started to get a bit clearer, uni. So I was never really set on it. In fact, I was such a quiet person back then in school. My teachers don't even realize I exist. Like I'm always the person that doesn't want to make eye contact so they don't pick me to speak, that kind of thing. So it was a real surprise when I ended up in this industry. But for you, Izaac, have you ever thought about it? I mean, you're still very young, but did it cross your mind like, oh, if I didn't pursue this as a career, what would I do?
I also don't have an answer.
What? Okay, I'm shocked. I'm shocked.
From young, I mean, I really enjoyed. I mean, I started table tennis as a CCA in school when I was 7. So when I started, I really enjoyed what I was doing, and I think if I would give you an answer, it would be something that I enjoy.
Clarence, was your CCA also table tennis back then?
Yes.
It was? Okay, I'm the only person in this room right now amongst 3 of us who have a completely unrelated CCA. You want to take a guess? Just take a random guess. I'm not sure if I ever mentioned this on on any episodes. Take a random step in the dark.
Ballet.
No. Do I look like a dancer? Oh my god, thanks! I never took ballet in my life.
Oh.
Yeah.
Choir?
Choir? Are you saying I can sing? Girl, I cannot sing. Okay, try again. It's music related. You're getting close. You're getting close. It's a group activity. It's not singing related.
Band?
It's close. But what kind of band?
What kind of bands are there?
I don't know.
Okay, I'll tell you. Chinese orchestra.
Oh. Oh, yeah, right.
Guys, the crew, is this the first time you're hearing this? Yes? Oh my god, so okay, they didn't know this either. I was in Chinese orchestra. I feel very offended that some of them are like laughing their butts off right now behind the camera. But I played like Ku Cheng and Liu Qing, which is very hard to imagine now. Most of my friends are like, that is out of this world. Like, would have never
That
thought.
is very interesting.
Yeah, but clearly I didn't pursue a career in music. I didn't. It's completely unrelated. Anyway, I sidetracked. So we were talking about career options, and you were always very focused on taking this path. How do you know like this was for you? Like at what point do you feel like it's not just a hobby anymore? It's not just something I enjoy as a CCA, but I can see myself doing this for my whole life.
I would say same as what I said just now. When I started to win more competitions overseas, during competitions, like facing these difficulties is what I enjoy. And
Wow, really? You like being put under pressure?
yeah, because in table tennis, like you have to adapt in the match, and I think that's what I felt very interesting.
It's a very interesting perspective. And I actually was listening to a podcast recently that had a quote that stuck with me for a bit. And the quote was, "Pressure is a privilege." And if you're able to experience pressure on a day-to-day basis in your career, in your life, in your job, and still like thrive and perform, that is a privilege. It shows that you're being challenged every day. So nice answer. How about you? When was that moment that it clicked and you're like, I'm doing this forever?
Well, I would say it was after I joined the Singapore Sports School in secondary school, and we had the Youth Olympic Games in 2010, which I was fortunate enough to be chosen to participate. And I think through that experience, it was my first major games, and just that adrenaline and the excitement of playing in front of the home crowd or such a large crowd, it really, that feeling was amazing, I guess. And that was when I made up my mind. I said, I would like to experience many more of such occasions. And I think
it's incredible because you've got like thousands of eyes on you, hundreds of thousands even if you count people watching on TV, and you can perform. I'm like, I will be that one person on the team that the moment the camera rolls, I like cannot even serve, I think. So yeah, clearly I'm not a professional athlete. But with all the upsides that you felt and all the euphoria that you felt, were there moments where you felt you were low and you felt like, hey, I don't know whether this is for me anymore? Did you experience any setbacks?
In any sports, there's bound to be highs and lows. And for me, I think there were many times that, many low points, I guess you would say, maybe burnouts from training or having to deal with injuries, not being able to participate in tournaments, as well as, there's also many other stuff. For example, the need to juggle between sports and studies, national service, there's a lot of different areas.
So Isaac's getting there. He's getting to that point right now. Have you guys talked about this, or have you had to share with him about your experience yet?
Well, everyone has to go through that. But like me, I've been through national service and I'm still here, right?
Yeah.
So
Was that one of your fears? Like that, now that you have more education to go ahead of you, you have NS as well. Do you always think that like, oh, how is that going to work with my career?
Same as everyone in Singapore, we have to go through national service.
Yeah.
But for table tennis, I think not being able to play or train regularly for 2 years may like affect
Set you back.
Yeah. So I mean, for now, I'm just focusing on like what I'm supposed to do and not think much about that. But when the time comes, I'm sure that I just try my best to not fall back behind like during that 2 years. Just to try to keep up. And I think after the national service, then I try to come back as fast as possible.
But you also feel, and when I look at professional athletes, and I guess not just athletes, even people in my industry or people who, for example, Miley Cyrus, Justin Bieber, like they started at such a young age, right? Similar to you guys, you start training, you start pushing out there. There's a lot that they sacrifice in their life. I'm not sure if I speak for you because you've already been through that part of your life, but do you feel that you might have sacrificed a lot of time spent with your friends, experiences, traveling with like, I don't know, your besties, that kind of thing? Do you feel like because you've chosen this intensive path that you've had to sacrifice some of these things?
Definitely, because we spend long hours, training and going overseas for competition. So definitely you missed out on a lot of social occasions and time with your family and friends. So, but it is a necessary sacrifice, I guess, because training and competition is an important part of our life and our career. So, and that's our full-time job, you would say. So we have to really, put a lot of time and effort into that.
I see where you're coming, and don't mind me, like I hope that I'm not gonna be overstepping when I ask you this question. How has this affected your dating life?
Oh.
Like, he's like, oh no, don't ask me this question.
In the past, it has definitely affected. I always felt that I didn't have time to go out to meet new people and just to form new connections and stuff. Because I was always just very busy, and I felt that I wouldn't have been able to had the time and commitment to like get to know someone and stuff. Yeah.
Would dating a fellow athlete help then in terms of like understanding the lifestyle?
Definitely, because you have more or less the same schedule, and I guess for other professions as well, they tend to feel like if they date someone in the same field, they would understand each other better. Maybe their schedule would fit more.
Interesting that you mentioned that, because I've never dated anyone in my industry. Have I? No, I haven't. I haven't dated anyone in my industry.
I have tried before.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, but now
in your industry?
Yes.
Yeah.
My previous relationship.
Yeah.
But now I'm in one.
Oh.
But it's not from table tennis.
Oh, you see? Sometimes you think that you know what you need. But alas, you don't know what you need. What? I don't even know what I said.
As what Clarence said just now, I think for us, training and competition is more important. And I think we have to sacrifice some of our fun time to train and do what we like.
You talk about not spending enough time like with your family and friends and all that. But at the same time, how do you guys keep up your results? Like your studies? Like, I mean, you've been through this already, so please chime in as well. But now you're living it and you're in this moment where studies are still very important. How do you then balance it? Because when I was your age, I already struggled with just focusing on studying, not even like pursuing this career on the side.
I mean, now for me, this year, I'm on a leave of absence from school.
You're taking a gap year, right?
I'm taking a gap year just for training full time and competing. In secondary school, I'm in the sports school, so it really helps. Like, the school really supports me, and like they allow me to travel overseas. And when I come back, they have a lot of makeup lessons, makeup classes, which really help me. And I think also the Singapore Table Tennis Association, they really try to help me as much as I can. Like, try not to put too much pressure on me during competitions or even the school. There are also like psychologists and people to help me. I remember during secondary 4, I was actually overseas like I think 40% of classes, so not including holidays or anything. So it's really like
You
quite
feel
hard for me.
homesick too?
Yeah.
Homesick.
Yeah, so quite, because we stay in boarding school, so
Oh.
I actually quite used to it, like even when we go overseas. So for me, it wasn't that much of a problem.
And how about you, Clarence? From based on your experience,
Well,
how did you balance that in your youth, in your younger days?
yeah, of course, it's been very hard as well for me. Like, for example, during secondary school, I was missing out on so much lessons that they had to pull me out of my regular class. So they actually put me and my other teammate in one separate class. So it's just the two of us, and they hired like tutors just for the two of us to catch up with our work, and just like a more one-on-one approach.
But that's the kind of support that's provided,
Yes.
which is good. So in those moments where you felt, challenged, and you mentioned a couple of your challenges, who are your main pillars of strength and support?
Firstly, it's family and friends. They're your closest, and the ones who you can, share your struggles and thoughts with the most. And besides that, I think we are very fortunate to have a very holistic support system as well. From our association to the Sports Institute, they actually have, like I said, psychologists, and we have physiotherapy, and sports science, sports medicine, those kind of support, which I think in this age of sport, which is very important to not only have your skills on court, but also strengthening of your other areas like the mind, the body as well.
Yeah. And communication.
Yes, communication.
And all that, right? Okay. Well, speaking of all this, I'm sure that you have your own path of success mapped out, and you have, I don't know, I personally believe that visualization is very important. So sometimes in the morning when I wake up, I'm like, I try to envision what I want my life to be in like 5 years, 10 years. I don't know if you guys do that, or like when a game is about to approach, do you visualize like, okay, like I'm in a good headspace, I'm going to win this? Do you practice any of this? Hold up, before we answer that, remember to subscribe to our channel. Okay, back to the conversation.
I think most of the players, we try to like find videos of our opponents beforehand. So we try to study them and what they do usually, or what type of service do they have, or so when I look at videos like that, I try to imagine like how am I going to overcome it on court.
Wow.
So
it's like chess.
I think that helps a lot.
In my own words, sometimes when I think of success, right, I think it's a process to me, because what success looks like to me is that, I've got everything together. I can support my family. I can open my own business in the future, whatever it may be, right? Even this podcast, like I didn't think that it was going to become what it is today, for which I'm very grateful. To you, what is your vision of success? What is your idea of success? Aside from winning X amount of matches, I mean, of course, that's a given. What is your vision of success?
Definitely success, besides being tied to winning, I feel like success is more about holding yourself accountable. It's in every match, you must really give it your all and have no regrets out on court. Of course, success will be defined also by the goals or targets that you set, and sometimes if you achieve them, of course that's great, but in sport sometimes there can only be one winner, so there are also maybe targets that you didn't achieve, but as long as you are given the opportunity and you really tried at every goal, I think that is also considered a success in its own way.
Yeah. Like what I said, like being able to support family or having the life that you want, I think to me also contributes to that. Do you want to add anything on? What is your idea of success?
I'd say like facing all the difficulties that I get on court, overcoming them, even though sometimes you don't win, or like you didn't reach your goal. I mean, facing these difficulties is not easy.
But both of you, I mean, of course, are doing very well. You're both Spec Scholars, right? Tell me more about what it's like to be a Spec Scholar, Clarence.
Of course, the Spec Scholarship, it has really helped us quite a bit in our pursuit of sporting excellence. For example, we have monthly stipends for and also for equipments, overseas competitions, we have funding.
So you get good stuff.
I would say so.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Besides that, access to like what I previously mentioned, the sports science and the support system. So those are actually very crucial to help us, because every small detail is a competitive advantage that you can get.
Even down to like your nutrition, the psychological help, like everything contributes to that, right? How about you, Isaac? What's your experience so far, like being a Spec Scholar?
I mean, all the support that they've given, I think, like, let us worry less about other stuff, and like we can put our mind to just playing our best and training as hard as we can. Not worry about like injuries or anything. I think that really helps. And
so it takes your mind off certain things. But I've always been curious about this. In the world of sports, do you ever worry about peaking too young and what your shelf life is? Because in my industry, the talk of shelf life is very common. And especially for women, I mean, I don't mean to put this out there, but sometimes when you're like a female artist or a female, singer or whatever it is, sometimes people look at you and they're like, oh, like, pass your shelf life already. That kind of thing. It's like those comments, right? For you in the world of sport, does that exist, do you feel? Do you worry about that sometimes?
Yeah, I think definitely when we are very young, I mean, getting like some success or winning some matches, I think puts pressure on you like to perform when you go older also. So I think there are of course a lot of saying, like, even though sometimes you do very well for this competition, then the next competition you don't do well, and then some people will be saying this guy he will not be winning anymore.
Or like you peaked already, now you're coming down, that kind of thing, is it?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of comments like this, but I mean, as an athlete, of course, like, you win some matches, you lose some matches, and I feel that experiencing this like all the matches that I've lost, I think that is what helped me, or like what like made me notice like my weaknesses, or like what I have to work on during training. And I think that that really helped in like setting my targets and goals also.
And what is your ultimate target?
For me, of course, getting an Olympic medal for Singapore. But I mean, still I have a long way there. So I think just step by step and setting small goals for me.
Okay. And Clarence, what about you?
Yeah, definitely there are ups and downs, and sometimes you would peak, sometimes you will fall down a bit. But either way, there is always room for improvement. So it is really up to you to say, keep evolving your personal skills on court or off court as well. So I think that is really important for us as well.
You've already been through whatever Isaac has been through during his phase of life. Do you sometimes worry like, because, I am, getting a little older? I mean, you're not old at all. You're still very young. But sometimes, like, I think of athletes and I think there's always that pressure because, for example, Ronaldo is how old now? Like 35, 36? Late 30s, I think, like mid to late 30s. And people are like, wow, he's still like ripping it. Like he's still at his peak. Like his age is nothing. But at the back of your mind, do you ever worry like just biologically, you might feel it and you might feel like, okay, maybe, I have to slow down and so on, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, not everyone is Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah. Hey, that guy is a god. Why was he born like this? I don't even know.
I would like to know. So
I know, right?
But yes, definitely in sports, it always comes with an expiry date. I would say there has to be a point where you, I guess, call it a day.
I think eventually for all of us, like even for people in my industry who are like front facing on camera and all that, I think someday we have to evolve, and evolve your branding, change it up. So it could be similar for you.
Definitely you can feel it as time goes past, like physically. And for example, the younger ones like Isaac, when they come out now, you can actually feel like their play style and stuff, it's all evolving. So you also have to make adjustments to catch up. But sometimes your body might not be able to follow up that well. You get injuries and stuff more frequently, but that is also a challenge in itself, where maybe you have your experience comes into play, where you try to find different ways, not just to match them physically, but in table tennis, thankfully, it's more of a tactical and technical sport. So there are other ways where you can come up with ideas to get around it. So,
yeah. But you've never once regretted your choice of career, have you?
Sometimes you would wonder, like, if you chose another career, would it be more less tiring, easier, or different? Yeah, you sort of had that thought whether it will be nicer, but at the end of the day, you go back to why you started and chose this path in the first place. And I think we are very fortunate that we are able to find something that we have passion, that we love, and at a young age, and what we're also good at. So to be able to pursue and enjoy it for this whole period is quite a blessing, I would say.
I have friends around me, right, who hate their jobs. And they wake up in the morning and they're like, I hate my life. They literally will text that in a group chat. They're like, I hate my job. Why am I doing this? I hate my boss. And some of them change jobs all the time. They're like, I'm going to quit and move on to the next one. When they move there, I hate this one too. Then I thought to myself, wow, I am so fortunate to, despite things that I cannot control, despite that, I still actually really love the job and enjoy the job. And that is a blessing. So on that note, you guys have gone through years of training. You have many more years of training to go, but you started at such a young age. What have you learned about yourself through this journey that isn't related to the sport, but you've learned in this journey of growth?
In table tennis, I think there are a lot of tough times, and I learned that I try to take every setback or every loss as a good thing instead of a bad thing. Seeing myself lose this match, maybe I would tend to tell myself it's actually a better thing if that I lose this match, because I learned this and that. So I think outside of table tennis, also in my life, I think I try to take every loss as a win, actually. So to grow as a person, and I think I try to think of other things positively instead of negatively more.
Okay, that's a good takeaway. I like that. Clarence, you want to add on?
I guess resilience is definitely one thing. It builds up your self-confidence, and of course, being an athlete, you need to have a lot of self-discipline as well. So that is probably something that has been instilled in us since a very young age, which would definitely be helpful in the future. And in sports, of course, when you fall down, you always try to get back up. And that applies in life as well. You will definitely have, tough times and setbacks outside in your personal life. So I think it gives us we know better how to actually deal with it.
Perspective, right? It gives you perspective. Okay, before we wrap things up, I just have a super random question. Do you guys practice your game face before you go? Because I always all these professional athletes, right? They actually look very cool when they're playing. Do you ever think about it? You're like, how do I look when I'm playing? Do you think about it? Come on, you can be honest. Do you?
Usually when I play, I don't think so much. So I think I don't think of my face that much.
Okay.
So I think just playing normally, I think that's why all the photos that I take is usually very ugly. My face is always always very focused, or I use a lot of strength type of face. So
Okay.
I'm
sure it's not ugly.
I think I can work on that.
You can work on it. Okay, this is his key takeaway from our podcast today.
Comes naturally.
Yeah, it comes naturally. What about you? You've been doing this for years. Do you have a game face? Or are you conscious about that? You're like, okay, let me take a look.
If there's a live telecast going on, maybe I would be slightly more conscious.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe I fix my hair a bit.
Fix your hair? I was like, I noticed your hair never move at all. You need to share what your brand of hair wax.
No, but usually on court, we are really very focused.
Yeah.
So I think it is normal to have that game face. And like what Izaac said, we really have a lot of unglam shots. Like if people take pictures of us, maybe only 1 out of 10 is a good looking photo during the rally. So it's very normal.
Okay. I am so invested in this. I need to look for their pictures right now. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Men Explain. We hope you enjoyed it.
Leave a comment down below what you think about this session.
And please like, share, and subscribe.
And put your game face on. Nobody's game face on. Okay, bye. See you.
Bye.
Bye.